Hey everyone, I'm doing my John Maxwell now. I spent quite a bit of time just sitting and reading different scriptures, and one of the recommendations is that we have Psalm 91 printed out and in our bedrooms beside our beds. So I had put one up, but it's not the full thing, so I just read it from my Bible because I keep the Jerusalem Bible by my bedside, so hopefully that's good enough. And for today's John Maxwell for August 3rd, it's titled Time to Make a Decision. And the scripture is Numbers 20:12. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. And this is giving us Moses' example that his leadership, at the expense of his anger, he lost the right to enter into the promised land because he was running on empty, and in his weakened condition he made a decision that cost him his future. So God had directed him to speak to the rock in order to get water for the nation, and instead of speaking to the rock in anger, he struck it, and because of that he was not allowed to enter the promised land. So there's a big difference between speaking, and sometimes even speaking can be like striking somebody, but God told him to speak to the rock, not to strike it, and he disobeyed God. So there's two lessons that John Maxwell wants us to remember. The first is never make a decision during an emotionally low time, and if we're making a decision at a low time, it's most likely going to be the wrong decision, or it's going to be a decision that's going to hurt you or hurt your organization in the long run. The second one is to choose to be proactive, not reactive in your leadership. Don't let your mandate come from the grumbling of the crowd. Sometimes following the crowd is like following the masses. You're following the asses. So don't follow the crowd. Get your clues from God and the mission that he's given you. So we have to look at what kind of a future we want to create. We have to look at whether we are being offensive or defensive in how we're leading, if we're looking to please God or to please people, and do we own our own time, our own calendar, and how we are doing things, or is somebody else giving us the orders of how our time should be used? Does somebody else choose where you're giving your time? And I think those are important questions for us to use in making our plans for our organization, in making our decisions. That's also something that St. Ignatius teaches, that don't make a decision when you're at a low, or when you feel that you're not close to God, where you feel like you're in desolation and you feel like God is not with you. Don't make the decisions at that time. Make the decisions when you are in a place of consolation, where you feel close to God, where you feel that God is going to bring you into community more and going to help you to reach your goals and to be on the right path. So I thought I'd share those with you. And they are principles that I try to apply in my own life. I know sometimes you get these secular plaques which will take things like this and just make them into a few bullet points. And yeah, they're good to remember that way. But it's nice when you reflect on the scripture and you reflect on where's that coming from and how did it result in Moses's leadership, because Moses did a lot for God. Moses trusted the Lord, Moses led the people, Moses did so much for God, but because that was so important to God that he speaks to the rock, not hits the rock, it resulted in consequences for him. And so it's the same with sin. Some people, sin makes them Queen of England. For some people, doing good leads to unemployment, like me, and it leads to doors closing instead of opening. So anyway, that's the journey of life, but we do everything unto the Lord. So we embrace the people around us, and even with the people that I've been with on my journey, there's a lot of my friends, not a lot, but there's some of my friends who were gay at university. And when we say gay, it's not like gay in the song I was singing this morning, like happy. It means like they decided they were lesbian or homosexual or something like that. So it's a painful thing. It was a painful for them to come out, painful for them to tell their family, tell their friends, and even for some of them to tell me. But they're still my friends. I'm still with them on the journey. I'm still connected to them. Some of them don't email me for years, but I'm still there, and they're still with me on this faith journey. So sometimes the marginalized are not just people like me who are discriminated because of our race or our religion, being Catholic. Sometimes it's sexual orientation. Other times it's being single. I'm always the one left out, excluded. I would say in Canada, who has been with me on this journey from start up to now, there's two people I can name. One is Gordon Rickson at the college. I see him now and again, but Father Larry is the other one, my pastor at my church, where I go to church. And I'm not somebody who talks a lot to people. So, I just go about my day, I do what I need to do. And I see them now and again, meet up with them at the church, and then I might say hello, ask them how they are. But I'm not a big talker. So that's part of what I try to remember in my journey, that it's not about people pleasing, it's about pleasing God. And I read a beautiful passage in here. This was from when I had been doing that retreat in daily life with St. Hildegard. There's a beautiful passage here for when your day is ending. To spend a moment welcoming the dark, make friends with the silence. I know it's still noon here, but I thought I'd just do it since it's fresh in my mind. Imagine a garden springing up in the darkness. Let there be sun and light and birds. Let the earth give birth to flowers and fruits. Place yourself in the garden. Breathe the air. Eat the fruits. Smell the flowers. Give thanks to its creator. Acknowledge your dependence. And I thought this was a beautiful image. It took me back to my childhood. I used to do the nativity scene at home, and I used to plant we call it nyauti, the little seeds that spring up like grass. And I used to love it in the morning when I woke up, and I used to see all the shoots of the grass that had grown, or when I'd grow a flower or a plant, and I would see how the new life would bud. And that reminded me of God's creation story. Out of the dark, coming the sun, the birds, the lights, everything beautiful, all the fruits and flowers. When you walk up the street here, there's one of the streets has a mulberry tree. And all those mulberries fall on the floor. It reminded me of our garden at home. But when you pluck that mulberry, when it's been warmed by the sun, it's the most exquisite, delicious fruit that you can eat. And there's places in Europe where now they are growing fruit trees, and they're allowing people to pick the fruits from there and to take them home to eat them. And it's cared for by the local government. They water the trees and they plant them. But that imagery just stayed with me of giving thanks to the Creator and acknowledging our dependence on him, asking him to show us the path and the way forward with him. And I thought that was a beautiful imagery. I actually had one of those mulberries when I was walking. I picked one and I ate it, and I was like, oh, this is so good. It's so different from picking the fruit that you buy in the store. It's very different when you're eating something fresh. So I wanted to share those with you. And I think for my decisions as well, I try not to make decisions when I'm in a low or when I'm in a bad headspace and I'm not feeling close to the Lord. And if there is something that I need to talk about or a decision I've made, including in my prayer life, I tell Father Larry, because he'll tell me. If he doesn't think it's a good idea, he'll tell me. If he's fine with it, he'll just say, okay, that's good. Even with the deliverance prayers that I started saying, with other prayers that I've done, I've always told Father Larry so that he knows where I am on my faith journey, because he's the one that sees me at church, he's the one that sees me on a weekly basis, and he's the one that knows my struggles when I'm going through unemployment, when I'm looking for work, I can't get a job in the church. And there is discrimination in the church here. There is discrimination because there's no reason that somebody with my credentials and who graduated here and not recently, a long time ago, can't get a position in the church. But anyway, that's how it goes. So I thought I would just share that for my reflections for today and for my scriptures. And I also haven't just been applying in the Catholic Church. I've been applying to other Christian organizations and non-profits where my skills would be a good fit. And let's hope for the best and hope that something good comes out of all this for me. I'll also be joining the Knox Shrine has their novena coming up. So I'll be doing that novena at home. And sometimes when I have time, I do join in. All the talks are posted online and they are very good speakers. So I watch those sometimes if people are interested and if they want to join in. Our Lady had appeared there in Ireland. And Ireland is very similar to Canada and America in that people are starving, people don't have work, but the reality is that there's a lot available. And yet, despite there being a lot available, there are families going without food, without work, without shelter. And our government is destroying our country, which is really sad. People left Ireland because they said there was a potato famine. But there was a lot of food available, it just wasn't reaching the right people. If you listen to Sinead O'Connor's song, Famine, or if you listen to any of her music, that's what the music is about. It's about all the struggles that the Irish people went through. And even her criticism of the church, it's in the music, just like Elvis. It's in the music. That's why the police were always after him, because he took, as a white person, he was mixed race, but as was classified white, he took his music into the deep south. And all the races came. So it was controversial. But that's our faith. If you don't see Christ as a controversial figure, as a contradictory figure, you don't know him at all. And you don't know his heart.